So, this will be... What am I trying to think? Wow, I'm losing my mind here. We will have the red Protoss in the bottom right. He will be Owaka. And his opponent today will be none other than not the Black Widow, not the Brown Recluse, but the Dwarf Spider. And I don't like spiders in general, so I am a bit afraid, hoping that he doesn't win this one just for the fact of being a spider. We will see what he goes with soon in terms of either 15 hatch, 15 pool, 14, 10 pool, whatever he goes for, we will be seeing here shortly. Other than that, though, the Protoss not making anything, making a very late 11 gate, or like, he made his gateway early, but he made it later than what he needed to if that's what he was going for. Usually do a 12 or 13 is when you set down your gateway, but not today, he says. And that early gate could actually be a problem since Dwarf Spider is going for that 15 hatch. And a normal build for Zerds, actually throwing down the pool behind this, nothing too out of it. Going for a 1 gateway expand is the Protoss though. And that's cool and all. But I heard Zerdlings were just a tad bit faster than Zealots, so if the Zerd does scout this and sees this, he will definitely want to make it just a massive lanes and automatically win the game at that point. Just because Protoss can't defend this without cannons, without a wall in, without anything very helpful in this scenario, you definitely want to handle that just a little bit differently. Excuse me. And that's about all he has. Another gateway coming out. He doesn't even have a cyber core. Hasn't gotten any gases yet. Would definitely like to see those out so that way he can get some actually useful units. Yes, Zealots are nice, but not nice enough. I don't know why people queue up units. It's not helpful. If you really can't look bad at 1 gateway, and the time it makes to make 2 Zealots, which they take 38 seconds each. So if you can't look back at 1 gateway in that amount of time, then you have other issues you need to worry about. Taking a 3rd base very quickly is Mr. Dwarfspider, a very greedy build, but I guess he feels okay with it. There's only Zealots that he will be fighting, and that won't come anytime too soon. Probe being taken out, that will be first blood. Dwarfspider heavily in the lead in that unit's loss count, that is for sure. But anyways, 2 Zealots at a time, no Cybercore being thrown down, no gas being taken, and that will be 4 Zealots running across the map with only Queens to defend. It looks like he could make some Zerdlings. I think he saw that move out. No, that Overlord was probably just a tad bit too far away, making 2 Spine Crawlers though, so I guess he did actually see it. And he will have a nice amount of queens as well, a total of 4 by the time these Zealots get here. Out at his natural will be a very nice defense of these early Zealots. If they move down to the 3rd, it could be a bit annoying, but he could actually move the Spine Crawlers over here to the side, and they might have range to hit the Zealots over here. I do not know. This doesn't look too good for the Protoss though. Throwing down a Forge. He has no gas yet. He's a Protoss and it is 6.5 minutes in the game. Running into Spine Crawlers and Queens, and he does pull back. That is a very good decision making on his part. I hope he doesn't okay, it looks like he's just gonna fall back completely or regroup with these other Zealots, one of the two. I don't want him to move out. I want him to go back to his base and get gas like he should. Like he has to, like he is meant to. But instead, just making more Zealots, making cannons. He has plenty of mineral income for this. There he goes, 1 geyser. And another pylon. Can we see the 2nd geyser anytime soon? I don't think so. Maybe that was just him forgetting. I'm going to say that's it, just because I would hope that this is not somebody thinking that they know what they're doing. If you just watch one pro game, you can usually get a basic concept of what you should be doing in these games. These Zealots just running up here, they might just run straight into the main, or they'll run straight out after they lose 1. So now that count looking very bad for the Protoss right there. Lost a Zealot, lost a probe. I don't think he can come back from that, rather. Another hatchery has gone down, and that is a macro hatch over here, and that'll make sure there's no run-bys, so that's what that does, and it will allow for that extra production. Zerd does have 3 bases, even though he's not really using the third too much, making so many queens though. And that is probably the best thing he can do here. It'll allow him to keep making drones off the larva, keep making spine crawlers if he needs them, making a spore just in case there are DTs. He doesn't know that Protoss has no gas income until just recently. Protoss still not even starting his warp gate because he never got a cyber core. He did get a forge. He has been getting that +1 upgrade, making these zealots very effective, but they have gotten back across the map. And Zerd's just making drones, or not really even making drones. I would definitely suggest making a lot of drones right now. Just making queens, queens on queens on queens. That's a lot of, oh my god, that's a lot of queens. He has a total of 12 on the map. His queen count matches the zealot count, but he is down in workers. Not a good place to be, even though he has quite the defense for any attacks. Okay, there goes the drones. Does have 13 on the way. A very nice transition out of that early defense into heavy econ. Best thing he could be doing right now is getting those drones. So he is doing everything right. Has 3 queens and 3 spine crawlers down here. That could hold off against the zealots alone, I'm thinking. Especially if the transfuses were used correctly. Council going down. He might go for those desperation DTs. I don't think he's in a desperate spot, or at least he doesn't think he's in a desperate spot. But in reality, he is. He had a very awkward setup. He had only zealots for the longest time. So if roaches were made, then Zerd would have been in a good spot. If Zerd took a third base, he'd be in a good spot. So he did do one of those things. So very good spot for our Zerd player. Would like to see these geysers taken. Would like to see, well, he is getting that one. Would like to see this one used. There it goes. So many things I would like to see. I'm just a person all about me. Infestation Pit has dropped, and that will allow him to get that. Hive Tech could go straight Ultralist at this point, only having Zealots, and will be getting charged. Oh my god, my voice keeps on messing up. 4 more Zealots coming out, and there goes the Warp Gate. I hope he switches these over, and we'll get another set of Zealots as well, because I don't think he knows how to make any other units in this scenario. Getting charged, getting +2 attack. And there they go. Would like to see more gateways, more pylons soon after as well. And our Zerd player is supply blocked. Starts as Hive. Would like to see some Overlords. Definitely. Ha ha ha. Gets the Spire started, gets Hive started, and more Queens. The Queen count is 14 to 19 Zealots, and he did warp in 4 Stalkers. Those are his first units that are not Zealots. Getting a third base relatively well timing as well, actually. Just Zerd not really. He responded to this in a defensive way. He could have responded offensively as well, but either way works. He is still ahead. Would like to see a 4th base here soon. Instead, just more buildings, more creep tumors. I don't see why there's 2 different. I mean, some creep tumors must be from Queens and the other ones from other creep tumors. I don't know why that is different on the production panel. Spire is on the way though. +2 armor is on the way. He doesn't have any attack upgrades for anything though. I mean, Queens do get attack bonuses, I believe, but they will be that much tankier either way. The 3rd base for Protoss is on the way. It is about halfway done, and Protoss might look to move out here actually. He's moving on a very strange path. I think some of his units. No, there they go. Throwing down some more gateways though. Very nice. A lot of drones coming from our Zerd player. Not really any other units. These rots will take forever to go down. They do have 3 armor, and the Queens do a total of 4 damage. So that is 1 damage per Queen per hit. Those drones just got. They're not enjoying things too much. Let's just say that. Will definitely need to use injets here if he wants to win this. And one of them going down, but it is not enough to save that Queen. There was another injet, and the army is delayed. He's getting a greater Spire, and Zealots can't aim up, but that is quite the investment to wait for. Luckily, the Protoss is leaving. Burrow is started, or it's actually halfway done. And these rots are back on the chopping block. 2 star. I don't know why he threw down 2 Stargates when he saw a mass Queen, but apparently that's the thing. Unless I don't think he has any idea. No, he has no idea that Broodlords are on the way. If anything, you could see like Ultralist coming, and that'd be something you would hold off for. But instead, he's just gonna make Stargates. You know, pretty cool stuff there. As soon as these rots go down, I would see the Zerd going for a 4th base. but that won't happen for a while. Still making more queens. He has 20 queens on the map. That is just so many. He will probably just do a slow push with the Overlord, or with the Broodlords rather, and that will allow him to push through pretty much anything the Protoss has. The Protoss not having Blink, only having Charge Lots, and 10 Stalkers, which 10 Stalkers cannot fight 20 Queens, especially if Transfuses are used. They will be moving across this map. They did just hit something, so the Zerg does know about this. Queens are not in position. 2 Void Rays have started. 12 Corruptors are on the way, though. Most of those, if not all, hopefully not all, will be made into Broodlords. And this army is on the creep. It is seen. The Queens need to be moved down. There's just so many of them here. 20. These are the 20 Queens right here. They are all grouped up together. This base, the Spinecrawler will go down. There's even a probe over here getting in on the action, and this base will just drop so quickly, actually pulling off to go back onto the Queens, and we will not see too many transfuses used. There they go. They will be landing on those front Queens and holding off against this army for a very surprising amount of time. If he just made any other units, this would be very nice. But instead, those Queens, I mean, they will hold off for quite some time, but they also do not do a lot of damage to these Zealots. If he had armor upgrades on the Zealots, this would be terrible, but instead only going for +2 attack and 1 armor. And the Zealots have all been cleared up after these last few die. The base is still standing. He did not focus the base. Now going to it, he knows that this army is dead. You want to move the Queens all in a little bit closer. There goes the base. And now trying to run out while taking out a few more Queens. We'll take out the last Zealot. And now... oh, the Stalkers are actually going to fight for a little bit longer. He does see Corruptors in the air. Void Rays are on the map, though. A total of 4 with 2 more on the way at a time. Not getting any air upgrades, though. I don't know. That looked pretty bad for our Zerg. He did lose a hatchery, did lose quite a few drones there. Lost 26 drones there in that fight. But that is a lot of Broodlords. That is 9 Broodlords. I really hope that he doesn't just make Corruptors, though. Those Queens will be very nice against the Broodlord, or against the Void Rays, if he pulls the Queens with him. Since he has so many Queens, I would have liked to have seen a lot better creep spread, but not all things can be perfect. These Broodlords definitely take a large portion of the map, I mean, that is a lot of blue. And double expanding, though, getting the Nidus network so those Queens can move across the map, probably also, that is also a good way to take care of this, but Creep is just a free way to do it rather than spending money on Nidus network and the Nidus worm itself. Either way, though, we will see Protoss moving out with a nice Zealot, Stalker, and Void Ray army. No AoE in this, no real anything. Void Rays aren't too effective against Queens. I don't think Queens are considered armored. No, they are not. They are biological and psionic. And those two things do not equal armored. The 20 Queens, though, these 3 Corruptors will hit a Void Ray, and those units are on the move command, but now those Corruptors having a bad day. Taking one down just to turn it around. Yes. Here comes the Broodlords, though. The Nidus network needs to pop up right here, right now. The Protoss falling back, those Void Rays will just do insane amounts of damage to those Broodlords. And there comes the Nidus network. He will need that immediately. It is the Stalkers trying to snipe it down. They will get it this time. Doesn't need to throw it down immediately. Again, he does that. The Void Rays are just going to kill everything. If they don't look, they are just melting the Broodlords, turning onto the Broodlings, apparently. The Zealots, this is not going to go well for our Zerg player by the looks of it. Void Rays not being microed efficiently, but one of them does have the ability turned on, the other ones do not. But that prismatic alignment will just tear through these units that much faster. Not a very good spot to be for our Zerg player, losing all of his Broodlords, making 11 Corruptors, though. A Nidus network, or Nidus worm, is over here now. And I'm not sure why he did that. He lost all of his Broodlords, so why... I don't know. He killed a Void Ray, but that's about it at the end of the day. 26 drones have been killed to 8 probes. The unit's loss tab actually showing Zerg has lost twice what the Protoss has lost. Not a good spot to be in at all. A lot of drones being made though. He does have 85 drones to 54 probes. That does show that he will have the economy advantage. But he's only making Queens again. He has a lot of Corruptors, a total of 10 right here. And I thought I saw 11 in production earlier, but 10 Corruptors can take out these Void Rays and then be turned into Broodlords. But that's a lot for them to do when the Protoss is knocking at Dwarfspider's door. I don't know how he's going to hold this one. Transfuses are nice, but they are not that efficient. And one wave of Stalker shots almost killing a Queen by itself. Here come the Queens, though, the Corruptors, the Overlords, even with this army, just taking a big box of it all. I don't know. The Void Rays will start hitting the Corruptors, and the Spore actually doing damage as well. That is just hard to see in. I don't know. We know that the air is won by the Corruptors, and the Stalkers actually have to fall back. Too many Queens. They will start hitting the Corruptors, wisely pulling them back, though, and the Protoss army has to fall back. Zerg is ahead in supply, but most of that is due to drones. He is ahead by 30 drones. The 4th base going down for Protoss at decent timing for this scenario. This base being taken out very quickly. He does have +2 attack compared to no attack bonuses from our Zerg player. That is also going to start hurting him. And more of the Void Rays being taken out, though. And this army is now trapped. This army is now trapped indefinitely. It will die unless he somehow breaks these bottom Queens and then just walks by like he did last time. So many transfuses going down, though. And he does save both of those Queens down there for longer and longer. Speedling, or Zerglings without speed, rather, have been sent down. They will start surrounding these Stalkers. These Queens lasting for so long due to that transfuse ability, but there's no more energy on the Queens. They cannot use that anymore. And now all these Zerglings will just clean up the Stalkers entirely. And that, Zerg was at twice the resources lost of the Protoss, and now that has turned, and now they are on even terms with Zerg ahead by 90 supply, killing that entire Protoss army with no, or little to no macro during all of that. The Templar Archives has been thrown down, as well as 2 more gateways. So we will see if he can work with that, but it might just be too little too late. All these Zerglings coming down, but they don't even have speed. And he could have afforded speed a long time ago, but I won't judge. He does have 7 Mutalisks on the way instead of those Broodlords. That will be very helpful. And these Zealots, they'll stay alive for a very long time. The 2 armor actually staying on par with those 2 attack Zealots. Getting a few kills, but the rest of the Protoss army will come in. Zerg is still down by 100 supply, though, and that's why, because of these Broodlords, these Corruptors, these Leans, and of course the Queens marching on in here. He still has so many Queens. He does have a total of 12 right here with this army. He has 21 on the map, though, and with these Mutalisks flying in, I don't think Protoss will have enough. He only has two units that shoot things in the air, as well as 2 Void Rays now. The High Templar will be very nice to use against the Queens, but that would have been nice when in the earlier battles when there was only Queens defending and they relied entirely on that transfuse. But now is not the case. Now there is an army here. There's no storm. It is on the way, but it won't be out in time. The Void Rays being focused down by the Corruptors and Queens. More transfuses going down. This Void Ray will fall very quickly as well, and then there will only be Zealots for our Protoss player. Would be very wise to make some Archons here, but he might just go for the feed bats. Here they come, there they go on some of the... He could have used those on the higher energy Queens and just taken out more transfuses and taken out the Queens entirely, but that is not the case. The Broodlord's doing so much damage. Here comes 2 more Void Rays, but I think these 2 Corruptors, they won't actually be enough, but there's just so many Queens here that it won't matter. They do push those Void Rays away. There is another transfuse. And if Zerg just keeps reinforcing this, and he does have the Mutalisk count to do that, it will be a very bad situation for our Protoss player. Zerg is at 13 Mutalisks, and he could just fly into the main base of Protoss with that. There are cannons here, unfortunately, though. 3 Archons being made, as well as 1 High Templar just kind of flying, or floating around, rather. And just, he's trying to make more Void Rays. He's trying to get a composition to fight this, but when you are down by 120 supply, it is not a very good spot to be in. No upgrades coming from our Zerg player. Would have liked to have seen those just because he can afford those. The area of effect damage from those Archons, though, doing a lot of damage. Unfortunately, they are just focusing on the Broodlings, not doing any micro whatsoever, making it so those Mutalisks last forever. And that is pretty much all that the Protoss can do, is just trying to die at this point. He's making 2 Void Rays at a time. He's making Stalkers at the back of his base. A lot of Stalkers, actually, but when you have that many Queens and that many Mutalisks, the Mutalist alone could deal with these Stalkers, even though it wouldn't be too efficient, but they would be able to. The Broodlord's moving in here though, and I just don't see what he can do. The transfusion micro actually being very strong. If he just had Templar earlier in the game, he would have been in a great spot for this encounter, but now that is not the case, and he just straight up leaves the game, not even calling the GG when he lost to a very, let's say, unconventional strat. Didn't even have the gas over here, got his gas super late, and just allowed Queens to defend the Zerg forever. He didn't drop anywhere, he didn't attack from any other places, he didn't use DTs, didn't use Archons, didn't use Templar, didn't even get Colossi. He just went for a very strange army. When you see Mass Queens, I would not go Stargate, at least go for a Robo, if not for those Templars, just because feedback would be so strong in this scenario. And actually a creep highway getting all the way down to the Protoss's base almost. That would have been nice if he did need to reinforce. But overall, a very good game from Dwarfspider. Thank you for that.